What's up, y'all? It's your boy Aniki coming at you with the Church of MHA Christmas special. Wishing you a Merry Christmas in an indulgent background. No. Oh. So today's Christmas, so I'm not expecting as many viewers to come in for the live stream, but I thought I'd still go ahead and do this, mostly for the sake of the fact that, it's still a chapter release, still, that time of year. And for those of you who don't necessarily have family to go to, maybe a quick stream will be something nice for you to enjoy. That's right, Andrew, the Christmas special. In addition to that, I've been talking with the boys, and we will likely do some kind of stream about just this past year of MHA and manga in general that we've been reading, mostly to give the viewers something to enjoy, especially since the next Shonen Jump issue doesn't come out for 12 days, which means that'll also probably be a Friday release. And so with all that in mind, we figured, you know what, why not? Let me do this, and then we'll just have our big year-end media discussion stream. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the same channel that also did the Avatar stream, and there is a new Avatar series announced, so maybe we'll get some content and discussion out of that. But yeah, so I'll probably just hop into this real quick after posting this in the Discord, just to make sure that everybody who can be here is in fact invited. But hope you all are doing well, and we're doing well over here. We're officially in the third trimester. So soon, the little Gene Bean will be here. So let me just go ahead and post this in the Discord. Now, don't necessarily expect this one to last as long unless this chapter ends up having so much material that I end up going on a really long rant. But, like I said, or somebody decides they want to come in. But all the same, I just want to make sure we all get to have something to do to this day. So let's see, J. Michael Holmes, yep, Alves, Majin, okay, Most Storm, the True Star. All right, look at that. So MK the Baby and Joseph Shiola. So yeah, good number of turnout, a surprising number of turnout, honestly. Hey, Tiger Blaster too. All right, let me go ahead and dive right into the chapter though. Like I said, I don't want to make this one take too long. Hope you guys are enjoying the Julian Burns, enjoying the backgrounds. Decided to spend a little extra time looking for that this morning. So let's get into it. Let's see. Oh, Luffy and Uta. So okay, so Shonen Jump concert for the cover, and Hunter x Hunter is going back into the vault of hiatus. We will see in another 2 years, maybe 3. Let's see. I know Black Clover's on break right now. I gave up on that robot series that just came out already. My bad. But it is what it is. So, all right. Let's see. Merry Christmas to BG, Tyler Hogg. Merry Christmas to One Love, Denzel. All right. Let me go ahead and get to the chapter. Let me stop playing around. Chapter 376. Oh, there was a popularity poll over in Japan, wasn't there? Was there? Or is this just a color page? I can't remember which one now. Let's see. Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku. Let's see. I don't see the typical numbering pattern, so I'm going to assume that this is just a thing he did for fun. Well, might have been. All right. Oh, this is a short one, too. Chapter 376 on Knife's Edge. Immediately picking up where we left off, which I didn't realize how badly misconstrued we still haven't had our chat about romance comment was until I went on Twitter that day. Needless to say, I regret going on Twitter that day, but I will point out that this is like, I probably said something when that chapter dropped, but it's just clearly not a hyper literal, we need to have a conversation about romance. This is more about getting to have this conversation, getting a chance to talk to Toga, getting a chance to save her as was intended, not necessarily having her leave the battlefield while still upset and angry with Ochako, while still dedicated to villainy, trying to find a way to pull her out of that dark space. I think it's hilarious that, and to a certain degree, we need to just be honest and admit that there are a lot of folks out here that read these series never want a peaceful resolution. They want the hands, and they want everybody to be focused on giving each other the hands, when part of the point of the series is that the cycle of violence that is used to keep villains down without rehabilitating or answering or working through what issues have led them to the path of villainy is why the cycle of violence continues. This is part of the theme of Naruto, which obviously gets reduced to talk no jutsu. And I myself have even made jokes about that occasionally, but the reality is that it's about not perpetuating the cycle of violence. And the issue with Naruto in that approach is that he kind of just gets to like have these interactions with people in like less than 24-hour windows. This is more of a shonen timeline problem though in that regard, less of a an issue with the philosophy in of itself. Now, going forward with this though, whether Toga will eventually pay more attention, because at the end of the day, what Toga wants is not something that will actually be achieved through wiping out lots of civilians and installing All for One at the top. She may be a bit more socially accepted, but ultimately one of the things that's kind of should be staring her in the face is the fact that even whilst amongst the League of Villains, she was constantly mocked by people like Dabi, which means that even in a villain-ran society, she's still going to come into the same adversities that she came into within the previous society and established rules. But instead, this time she'll at least be able to kill the people who are mean to her and kind of get away with it. So we'll see which direction that fully goes. Also, shout out to the anime for actually going back in and reinserting the CRC content. It's a shame that they didn't include the detail of Spinisher finishing off one of the CRC guys, but you can kind of see that he was like cleaning his blade off. And we didn't actually get the parts where they like kind of defeated them all and did the extra damage, but cuts had to be made, I guess, when you have to reinsert something down the line further than it was initially supposed to be presented. But at least they knew to go ahead and make sure to include that back in there and have that creature rejection clan dialogue inserted for the sake of the story. So, which, since it's closer to what'll be happening later this season with the introduction of Ippon Josei and the heteromorph discrimination, having the CRC introduced in episode 13 of season 6 may end up making the discriminatory plot thread stick out in people's heads a bit better as we transition through the story, especially since the no heteromorphs allowed is going to be included. So this could actually, in the long term, help anime watchers do a better job of keeping track of that story plot than a lot of manga readers were doing as we were progressing. I see my boy Watkins in the chat. But shout out to Watkins. I know your life's been a little busy. Excited to have you back on when you're finally able to have that and get that piece. And then, all right. Let's see what else. Let me get back to the chapter, or really I want to see who else is in the chat, because I notice we're up to about around 30 people. So I want to make sure I give my Christmas shout outs to all those people. Jason Thomas, yes, I am streaming today. Oh, cool, JT. Jalen Baxley. Yep. Okay. This stream is supposed to be a long one, Jason. The only way it'll end up being a long one is if everybody randomly shows up, and that's largely been circumvented because I haven't like sent the link to anybody. Just going to keep this one nice and simple. Let me stop ranting about the very first page and keep going. So, can't take a hint is what Toga says. I'm not some blushing schoolgirl and in love anymore. You got that, hero? And we see that the transformation for Toga is starting to fade away. I'm assuming that this means that any Twice clones should have the actual personality of Twice. She doesn't, and I mean, in theory, she could actually bite into a Twice clone, drink some of his blood, transform into him again, and keep the cycle going as long as there are Twice clones around. But we'll see. So get this spread, them kind of overwhelming heroes. Youch hot. I'm assuming this is a byproduct of some of the flames and stuff that Endeavor had been releasing everywhere. Fall back for now. Get behind my earthen wall. We got Pixie Bob in the battlefield. Again, really, I can't spread my spores with all this fire, Sharoon. Yep, so we got Dabi. Get those tied up villains out of here or else they'll burn to a crisp. All right, they actually managed to restrict a Nomu. Props to them, I guess. Could have easily just cooked the brain off or, taken the brain out, which is what I would have done because it's a Nomu, it's undead. Not really so far seeing any way to save them. and you're putting everybody else at risk by keeping it around. But I understand why, because they're supposed to be the hero. So, hey, we got Sue. Not just Kurogiri. Dabi's here too. Okay, but is Kurogiri actually here, or is he just hopping between locations? Because I feel like it's the latter, not the former. Hope Todoroki and Shoji are okay. Gravity, Froppy. Okay, we got Tsukuyomi, Earphone Jack. The battle is doomed to devolve into chaos. Oh no, Kilka, your ear. I count myself lucky that this is all the Demon Lord took from me. Since the Twice army came out of the same work brigade as you two, I'm guessing that's actually Toga. All of Japan will be buried unless we stop her. But Dabi's raging heat is far too fierce. Oh yeah, this is another thing that I saw. Some people were optimistic about the idea of Tokoyami getting to go all out on this battlefield, with it being rainy and now it's dark. Hey, Nafisa. And with Dabi being here, nope, not happening. You got this bright source of fire here once again. Not gonna get to go full power. Sucks for Tokoyami. Sucks for those of us who enjoy Tokoyami. But yeah, he's not gonna get to pop off the way we wanted him to with this much fire once again in the area. Let's see. This is no proper battle, not anymore. The strategy to divide and conquer has failed us. Those flames on his chest, is that the phosphor move Shoto mentioned? So we now get confirmation that Enji has never actually gotten to see the phosphor move in real time. Toya, what'd you do to Shoto? I was hoping to bring you his head, but he was a tough cookie. Now my grand dream will never come true. But at the very least, I'll take as much as I can, whatever you hold dear, whatever you try to protect. All for One's kind of hitting here, chuckling with the hint. You see he's dressed up, still rewinding. I think it's kind of cool that the rewind energy is popping off kind of like devil horns, since he's the demon lord. Dude is so cringe and I love it, but let's see. The wind now blows my way. Oh, and we get a call back to his little map that he showed when he said he was short of friends and how he always has multiple paths to victory. Cascading chains of events, they're all working in my favor. Kurogiri probably warped himself to Tomura's location. Optimally, I would have obtained that long-range warp quirk for myself since it's superior to my imperfect sludge work. Not that it matters, I'll ride this wave of chaos and get myself to Tomura. All right. Ooh, so we got the black lightning as he goes to fly off. Ready to get there too. All for One is pretty much dedicated himself to going there. With this new body, I do think there's something he's planning, something that will involve not actually, because All for One's whole purpose of getting that new body is the idea that, oh, like, my body won't last forever, I'm gonna da-da-da-da, but I could see him now, since he's been able to rewind himself back to a healthy state, seeking out and trying to more or less get his body modified to be able to keep up. There's zero incentive to actually let Shigaraki keep the original one All for One anymore, especially if you can find a way to stop the rewinding procedure. So that's just something to think about. Oh, Hawks, you should face up to Bubaiga Water as a dying wish. We know that the rewind effect puts a timer on you, but you sure seem in an awful hurry, pal. What, don't you have faith in Shigaraki and that perfect body of yours? So discerning. In the truest sense, that body is not yet complete. There's a reason why this version of me is still essential. Okay, so we got to get into what I was talking about. Dabi stocks going up. Yep. Dabi and Shiggy both 11 and 12 in the popularity poll hurts, but they were close. Endeavor about to deal with that heat soon too. Place your bets, people. Is Dabi dying or is he getting a quirk awakening, going past the singularity and becoming literal fire? He looks like a little younger now, in my opinion. Dabi is dying, I feel. Okay, so in the case of Dabi, like I said, I personally don't necessarily subscribe to quirk awakening, even in the way that, like the way Redestro explained it, in the way a lot of people tend to mysticize it. It's not necessarily a mysticism approach. When you look at what Bakugo's awakening is cluster, it's not so much that he changed the fundamental nature of his quirk so much as he started utilizing and focusing not just on the explosions themselves, but on the sweat and the utilization of how he presented the sweat and stored up the sweat and released the sweat. And if you recall, for any of my long-term viewers, if you might randomly just kind of have like a flashback now when I say this, but one of the things that I always talk about is like for Bakugo to improve his quirk has two components. There's the explosive detonation portion of it, and then there's also the fact that he actually secretes the explosive sweat itself, and that any improvements that he would make through his quirk should be going forward now about the actual sweat purity, which is what like with sweat concentration. So you got the beads, which is like a higher concentration of the sweat, and eventually leading to it popping out through all of his body, you know, because all of his body makes sweat. If his body's gauntlets pull sweat, not just from his palms, but from his arms, then it makes sense that all of the sweat around his body is capable of exploding. So we got him finally applying the ability to detonate sweat on the outsides of his body. Similarly, this happened in real time. I really should have recorded that Twitter space the one time I did it. Dabi, when Dabi was frozen, one of the things that I talked about was how, because he had ice directly placed upon his hands, and because it was explained that the way Shoto's powers were utilized was via channeling the warm and cold blood through across his body, which forms the X, because it's supposed to mirror part of somewhat the circulatory system. That's why, you know, it kind of goes towards his arms, down towards his legs, and comes back. That by being hit with it, he would be able to replicate this, because we know that Dabi's body is inherently resistant to cold. He has a bonus cold resistance, and he does still have some heat resistance, which means in reality, he does have hot and cold resistance. Now, his fire is just a little too high for his fire resistance, but he still has hot and cold resistance. So from that angle, his awakening would be what we've already seen with him being able to tap into that phosphor, being able to regulate his body better. And what Dabi is effectively what people think of Shoto as, is like this prodigy, where Shoto actually does have to work for a really long time and improve. And Dabi is kind of just seeing, observing, and then replicating moves. And in this case, he's replicating something that he was hit with directly, allowing him to kind of tap into both sides of the way his quirk has impacted his body. So from that perspective, characters will kind of always be able to like tap into it. And so anytime you see a character with an ability, you have to kind of look at what's something that this power could or should be able to do, and then how would they do it based on the rules that it's been explained. And then that's usually how you can see a path forward for their awakening. Just like in the case of Giten, it's easy to look at his awakening as a literal awakening, because you just go, oh, he panicked and tried to freeze the stuff. But it's like, if his power is to manipulate ice, one of the things that every fire user is able to do is make their fire hotter and hotter. Why would an ice user not be able to make their ice colder and colder? And when you look at it that way, it's kind of like, oh, well, this was the logical conclusion of a person who has cryokinesis. They should be able to make colder and colder ice. So yeah, that's just something that the way My Hero Quirk Awakening is structured, you need to ask yourself, what should a power be able to do? And then how would it be achieved based on the mechanics that we understand about said quirk? Now, let me look at this, the chat real quick. Erasure Stops Rewind. Yes. Crusty AFO. Yes. I'd argue Dabi's quirk may be an example of quirk singularity, as it is either that or it is a mutation. Fair. New Year's resolution is that AFO dies in 2023. Please, I'm tired of this man. AFO isn't leaving anytime soon. Quirk Awakening tends to sound more and more like OP's Devil Fruits. That's also part of why I don't like it, because it functions very differently. Dabi already got another power-up copying Shoto's technique. He's already the strongest fire quirk user in the verse. Not sure if he needs any more power-ups. Shoto needs 3 whole sidekicks to fight. Correct, because Shoto isn't actually a prodigy. He's somebody with a really good quirk that is forced to work hard. Watch AFO live past the end of the series. If that happens, he's going to end up living as a baby. Merry Christmas to you too, Shola. Honestly, I'm glad that Twitter space was recorded. Don't need that one guy harassing me to be out there like that. Fair, very fair, Nafisa. That dude was really weird as hell. Don't know what was wrong with him. And thank you, Cameron Bailey. I appreciate the compliment. I still hold hope for Uraraka to get gravity manipulation. I think that's coming. and ice so cold that it burns. That is kind of where we're at with Shoto. So yeah. And no, Nafisi, you just didn't, that's not where your head at, MK, the baby coming through with the super sticker of a dad giving a baby something. That's cute. That's cute. Also, if anybody has any tips on how to say no to a baby girl, let me know. Because I am trying to figure out how I'm going to say no to her when she gets here. So, our Tarnish is telling me to finish the chapter so you can get in. Oh, Hawks. Okay, you should be facing it. We know that the rewind effect on you. Okay, cool. There we go. There's a reason why this version of me is still essential. Endeavor. The divide and conquer plan is a bust. Our allies can't battle in this nasty heat, and if we fall here, the villains are gonna converge on Deku and Tomura. Please put a stop to Toya. Such a cruel command for the one-armed, half-conscious fellow. As you so nicely put it, defeating me post-haste is his mission, yet you tell him to abandon his duty? That's enough bullcrap out of you. After all, you already lost once to our number one. He ain't abandoning any duty. Splitting hairs, I see. Duty. This time around, I'm really seeing you. All right, since Tarnish requested to get in here, I'll make sure to send the link. And then let me real quick. Let me point something out real quick, because this "I'm really seeing you" comment is important, not only because Enji is finally paying attention to Toya as Toya, but also Hawk's referring to him as Toya. And oh, look at that. I just realized that Enji was taking out Twice clones with his firearm instead of his left hand. So mitigating damage or risk to himself at that point. All for One looks offended at the fact that he's, Hawk straight up saying, yeah, he's defeated you before.
That man Hawk said, you already took an L.
BG, you might want to update your name.
Yes, you might want to do that right now.
I'm trying to. I don't remember how. Hold on.
Let me see if I can do it.
I got it.
Okay. Oh yeah, and I can. So that's good to know.
Yo, BG, I ain't talked to you in a minute, my G.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, nigga.
Too, my brothers.
Yo, listen, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Hawks is a real nigga. Not a lot of niggas can talk shit to All for One like that. I like that.
You're correct about that.
And match his level of, peep and shit. Because he, when he said he wanted to go to Shigaraki, I just thought he was being nosy. Like he just wanted to be a part of the important shit. But no, he needs to be alive for one more piece. That makes sense. So in a way, Endeavor really did smoke him. Because if he died in that moment, it was all over. That's why he tried to scream out, "No, stop!"
Bro, All for One is the most.
He was chatting.
All for One is funny, and I'm sure because BG, like the fact that BG pulled up here, I'm sure you watched and kind of laughed at the way All for One has moved this entire final back half, because he spends all this time talking the biggest shit, talking the toughest dump in the toilet. And then his internal monologues constantly dry snitch on.
Even in the other body, you know what this just put together to me? The fact that the main body is saying, "Oh, it's not complete yet. I need to do something more." That's why the Vestige was upset when Mirio called him out. There was that one panel of him looking angry when Mirio was like, "Nah, bro, you're not complete. Like something's off." They were signing off the whole time, actually off.
Well, and that's the thing, is that he never, All for One pretends to always be more in control than he is. And that doesn't mean he doesn't have plans. But the irony to having, 18 plans is that you've already admitted 17 of them can fail.
Mm-hmm. Listen, when you create backup plans, it's because maybe this might not work. You know what I'm saying? But for him, he has way too many backup plans. And then his backup plans, sometimes they meld into one another. That's why he said the wind is blowing my way this chapter. You know what I'm saying? He really just be catching waves and riding them.
And the thing is to be a good planner, you do have to go with the flow. So I'm not going to discredit his mental flexibility and adaptability, but he pretends to have all the variables under lock when in reality, his entire mindset is that I can't control most of the world. So I'm going to control what I can to the extent that it looks to people from the outside like I control everything. And it's interesting because this is one of the ways that all villains get humanized in some form or fashion, typically. The very ability to kill a villain is the humanization of them because it establishes a mortality and ends their ability to stop them. They are not wholly deific if they can be stopped. But the humanization of All For One is consistently not necessarily through him doing anything good. It's not necessarily directly tied to him being stopped. It's consistently tied to his own admission of vulnerabilities that he wishes to hide from others. Which for me, that makes him a lot more fascinating because usually people humanize him by giving them a lot of soft spots. But in reality, All For One's relationship with Ujiko isn't only predicated off them being mutually beneficial. It's on the fact that objectively, Ujiko has talents that he can never have. So instead, it's technically more of a codependency that he markets as and has convinced Ujiko that he is an underling.
But he can't have him know that. He can't let him know that it's codependent.
Because Ujiko can do the same thing All For One can technically. It takes longer, but he made Nomu without All For One.
He could copy quirks. That All For One can't do that.
He can mix them together, something that All For One also does. Ujiko does artificially everything that All For One can do through his quirk, and arguably some of it better.
All For One would have been dead without Ujiko if we keep it in a stack, just off the quirk. He took his quirk to double his life.
And Ujiko would be fine without All For One. Even if he got pushed into hiding.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know about fine, but yeah, he definitely would have survived.
He would have survived. He would have eventually been able to disappear if he would have had to disappear for 10, 15 years, so be it. Because the thing is that ultimately somebody would have picked up Ujiko. Some villain would have given him some money for something.
Yeah, the issue is they wouldn't have the power to expand his research like All For One does.
That's the only trade-off. And even then, with the way he did it now, the orphanages and all that other stuff, that was through his own goodwill and connections via quirk medicine research after he went into hiding and came back.
No, I was about to say, even before he went into hiding, the fact that he was able to really tap into quirks like that back then, he's sitting here talking about quirk singularity, that's real. We're seeing that happen now. So he was already in the mix already.
And when you think about that, that happened around the time of the fourth user, more than likely. Because we have no reason to believe Banjo held it for more than 5-6 years. We have no reason to believe that N had it for a long time. We have no reason to believe that Nana had it for a very long time. The most I can give Nana is 5-6 years, because maybe she got it a little while before Kataro.
No, I was thinking the most I give her is 3, maybe. Because, when she met All Might, he was in middle school, probably the same age as Deku.
Yeah.
And then she died around the time he almost graduated.
He had a whole year of high school, if I remember correctly, before he left. So, yeah, she died in his second year.
Because he already had a hero costume, so he had, he went from being a middle schooler to UA. So it was at least 2 to 3 years minimum.
Yep. Let's see.
And who knows how long she had it before she even met All Might. That's the variable right now.
Oh, so Tyler, because Tyler just brought up Jump Festa and Horikoshi's comment.
What was his comment?
That kind of hurt me a little bit. I'm interested in what you have to say about that. I'm specifically talking about his dream. Like, you should not be dreaming about that at this stage. Like,
so.
Oh, you're talking about the one about him saying he was going to get canceled. He dreamed about
his dream about getting canceled. That's wild. That is wild.
8 years?
Well, 8 years in the magazine.
Do you not understand? You know what imposter syndrome is?
Oh yeah, I know. 50, 60 million years, or 50, 60 million copies sold. And
it's only 56. I thought it was more than that at this point. Shit.
No, so My Hero. So the thing with My Hero, and it's like, I think it's like 50, 60 million. Actually, it might be like 70 million now. But the thing with My Hero is that it's insanely. There's actually kind of like, I won't say there's a popularity gap outside of Japan, but it's similar to Naruto in the sense that it's got a lot more Western presence to offset its lower Japanese presence, which for what My Hero is, it actually does insanely well. I think a lot of people forget that being a non-Super Sentai superhero comic or story in Japan and still do the numbers it does is kind of insane. Deku has, so this is one of those things that I've talked about, is that Deku has kind of always been like his self-insert. Like he's always been written around who Horikoshi is.
Yo, bro, I got the same vibes from that. Like the way he's going right now, bro. 9 pages. Take a break, my nigga. Like, we'll be fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go so hard all the time. Like,
wasn't he supposed to take a break?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the chapter that made them like tell him take a break. Because I don't even think he was willing to take one.
See, I'd agree with that if it wasn't for the fact that last week he took the random break, and that's when they said it was supposed to happen. So I think he came off the break to do this.
Yeah, no, I think he was like, nah, I need at least one more chapter for the year.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, he's too dedicated. He believes that if I stop for even a second, they're gonna cut me.
You have a whole anime, bro, that's 6 seasons deep. Like, you're good in terms of popularity.
And I know he was kind of apologizing for his comments last year. And all I can say to that is that he wouldn't have to apologize for his comments last year if, and it's going to sound a little arrogant, but if Mo niggas just listen to me. Because he was like, it'll be done in a year. And I was like, expect 2. Same man that thought Sports Festival was going to be 10 chapters. And for whatever reason, like the fandom heard he'll be done in a year, had that knowledge from years ago. Because like that was from the Kishimoto interview where this guy came, that was confirmed. It was like he was talking to Kishimoto. Kishimoto straight up told him, hey, anytime you think that you're going to do a series, any arc, whatever, you have a certain length that you think it's going to be, go ahead and double it. Just expect it to be longer than you thought. And since then, I've always kept that in the back of my mind. Like, if he sets a timetable, understand that he's probably underestimating how long it's going to take. In the same way that he underestimates himself, he underestimates his own capacity for storytelling and branching out. Because like over half the MHA's rush comments those comments didn't start until after that comment. Oh, Horikoshi's rushing. He said it was going to be done in a year. Instead of people being like, oh no, he's just underestimating.
I feel like the concept of rushing should have only been taken into account if we're actually approaching the end, rather than people just seeing this is we're going. Well, this happened fast. It happened fast. Yes, but are we actually approaching the end? After all, people were yelling about the rushing comments, but after when those comments were at their most prevalent, not a single fight had finished.
Yeah. And it's not really bad planning. What it comes down to is like a lot of mangaka, one, the editors and the company is always going to push them for as much story as possible. They want as much story as they can get unless they decide they want to cancel you. So if they decide they want to cancel you, then yeah, you got to wrap it up however quickly they tell you to. But
they give you a date.
Yeah. But if you're trying to figure out how you want to end, but you have that capacity to go, well, I can explain this, and my fans would appreciate this, and you just start feeling like, well, you have this story, you can explore it, you can tell more of it. Nobody's going to be mad at you for giving them more content in theory. Then you're set. And honestly, it also comes down to what you think of in storyboarding versus what it actually comes down to in an actual manga chapter. So you can bullet point a bunch of stuff, but if you see like a year's worth of bullet points, you could easily translate that into 2, 3, 4 years of content, depending on how you execute on those bullet points. And so what Nafisa pointed out, this is something that's important. It's when a manga can straight up tell you, oh yeah, we have like 2 volumes left in this series. That's when you can be like, okay. But when they tell you, oh, it's going to be a year, 2 years, you just picked hundreds of days and said that all this stuff was going to be wrapped. Nah.
Yo, listen, yo, Jason, that is a fact. Because, yo, I was literally going to bring that up. I just went back. I remember when Dabi and Shoto were fighting, and everybody was panicking on that. Oh, he's rushing. He's trying to, like, squeeze out a main villain fight, like, in 2 chapters, get boxed out. Look at where Dabi is right now. Did we ever, like, not think he was going to get to Endeavor, bro, at some point? Like, if this is the end of the story, like, people really thought Dabi was done. Like, finished, bro.
I want you to think about how long it even took for us to get here.
24 chapters for Dabi to get here after his alleged defeat, like in 352 when Shoto packed him up. It's been 24 chapters, and people like thought he was KO'd then.
Okay, Cameron Bailey, I'll give you that, but we also got to recontextualize. People aren't mad that they got Boruto. People are mad at what Boruto ended up being.
Yeah.
Because at first, when we got the promise of Boruto, I was like, I mean, the story was wrapped, but I'll take more content, whatever. And then I was like, I'm watching Boruto for my weekly slice of life hit. And that didn't feel good.
That what, yo, 400 episodes of filler is crazy. Listen, I love Naruto. I don't know how y'all do it. I love Naruto. I don't like his kid. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't like his kid. I never liked Boruto the character, like from the get-go.
I don't have a problem. I don't think my issue is that actually with the character. Well, well, not really. The issue I have is about the fact that, well, the show started off being in a situation where every time anything happened, there was always the adults were in the background and they'll make some comment about, oh, I could finish you off in 2 seconds. But there's some they don't do that. So it kills all tension every and all ways. And when they finally fix that problem, they do it in a dumbass way. So I'm like, oh, so damn, you really just can't do anything right. That's crazy.
Especially because it is emphasized in like the manga, it is emphasized in the novels, especially that all the Konoha 11 are basically Kage level shinobi.
Mm-hmm. Well, except a couple people.
Like, they're all supposed to be Kage level shinobi. Like the Konoha 11 is supposed to be like the generation of miracles of ninjas. Like they're supposed to be that dog. Like, now, do I truly believe that? I mean, if we lower the bar for Kage and accept the fact, because like, did post Sharingan Kakashi really seem like a Kage level fighter to me? No.
No, but nobody else would take the job.
Right. So it's like, but I get it. So from that perspective, I'm like, could, some of these folks be like post Sharingan Kakashi level? Sure, some of them could be in that ballpark, so they could be Kage level, but just not super impressive Kage level.
Kage level is a crazy term. It gets thrown around a lot.
There was another thing that was similar to that, and I can't remember what it is. Where it's like, yeah, I guess they would match this level, but that level has kind of been tainted. Oh,
Well,
it was the Ambu Black Ops.
yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about that. Yo, Joseph, it's been 33 chapters that I just checked of this arc so far.
And another way to look at it is, and this isn't slander, like special grade in JJK.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like-
all the grades. Because you know what's crazy? The grades really do not matter. Like the story tells you they don't matter, but people still use them in conversations. Like
Because
it's crazy because you know what I'm saying? Choso is a special grade curse. And then we just found out recently that he is like a grade 1 sorcerer.
well, so the way that the grading system worked is that whatever grade you were,
They should be able to handle with the level of curse. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like they opt like a first grade sorcerer beats a first grade curse, which means a first grade sorcerer in curse energy level is a special grade curse, which is a really weird ass way to process things. So yeah, it's like as a human, Choso's a first grade. As a curse, he's a special grade. And you realize, well, that's kind of wonky. But the real thing that I was thinking of is like that one Sukuna finger, like cursed womb that they encountered all the way at the beginning. Special grade. And then you have Jogo, which is established to be like worth 8 or 9 Sukuna fingers, special grade. Well, if special grade has that much power range between it, then it's kind of useless as a power assessment.
No, I'm saying, bro, from the get-go, bro, like, and this was in the anime, so like I can talk about this in detail. When he fought that first curse, that special grade at the detention center, Sukuna, he was like, yo, we're both special grade, and look at me and look at you. Like, and we're both ranked as special grade. Like from the beginning, like there was already levels to special grade. Like they needed special grade 1, 2, like if it was if it was gonna be like that, if he really wanted to take it seriously, but he didn't. It's just a ranking.
I don't need to hear about JJK today because there's some funny stuff.
Oh yeah, listen, Star Strike 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna say that
that's crazy.
Star and Stripe
was better.
Yes.
I think so too. I'm not gonna lie, I really do think so too. In the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I ain't read it, so I don't know, but I know. I just know. I know what happened.
In the grand scheme of things, Cassie was more digestible. Even if you didn't like it, it was more digestible than what recently happened.
I'm also gonna say that Cassie is possibly the most misunderstood character, and her impact is consistently misunderstood in the fandom. Because anybody who tells you Cassie nerfed Shigaraki was not paying attention to what happened to Shigaraki after that fight.
That's literally not what happened. I hate that. That's like the consensus of what happened during that fight. Like, oh, she just existed to nerf him. Like, but how?
Because like she destroyed some quirks, yes, but look what happened to his body because of that fight. He wasn't sprouting extra limbs when he was fighting them back in PLW. That wasn't a symptom of getting his ass whooped back then. He wasn't doing that during the fight with Cassie. It is directly because of the New Order virus that his body does what it does now. She forced his body to adapt beyond singularity. She destroyed a couple quirks and gave him the ultimate buff in exchange.
You know, his body never went through that before. Like that, like his whole body exploded. Like he was literally in midair, exploded, like looking inhuman.
He
came back from that, bro. And he was messed up after that fight. Like we don't know what condition Shigaraki was in before entering that fight. He just came in with the Nomu. He seemed like he was feeling good. And then after that fight, he was in the cave, like back to season 1 Shigaraki, like in pain, like trying to just overcome something.
Like, yes, New Order is the cause of everything that's happened because she injected him with New Order and gave him a body that caused the quirks to fight each other, which basically So I think I explained this when the chapter released, and I called it, and I basically compared it to anaphylactic shock. It basically gave him an allergy attack. And it's funny because when I turned the page while reading the chapter on stream, I'm pretty sure I even said, damn, this nigga looked like he having an allergy attack because of the way his face swelled up. Have you ever seen somebody eat something they're not supposed to eat and they start getting rashes and they swell up and all kinds of stuff like that?
I never seen it in person, but I know about it, yeah.
Exactly. That's what Shigaraki's face was made to look like. And his body was made to look like the second that shit started popping off. His body rebelled against itself. It basically gave him, like, his immune system was attacking his own body. So then, after that happens, his body has to adjust and take control of his immune system and basically subdue every quirk within him. In the process of doing that, the nerve, you could argue, is that she awakened and finally gave full expression to young Tomura, to Lil Tank Tank. But Lil Tanko is crazier than All For One. Like, he got caught friendless and was like, not me. I got a dog that I killed 15 years ago. What you mean? My nigga, did you hear yourself? You killed your dog 15 years ago. That's not your friend. He's dead.
Bro, he's a child.
Like,
in the body of a god. The thing about Tenko that like is so mind-boggling to me is how like aware he is of everything happening. Like, he does not care about anything he's doing, bro. He doesn't care that he's fighting heroes. He doesn't care that they're like calling him like a monster or anything like that. He like the things that he talks about and comments on, it's just like I want to understand it more. Like where is this going with him? Like, what's gonna happen?
because after he killed his family, destroyed that hand, and killed those thugs, he effectively started spawning a new personality that had its own set of memories that was not connected to, and effectively became a whole different person. So that initial personality is still there, but Shigaraki, as his entire existence, is a reactionary coping mechanism. Like the Tomura Shigaraki that everybody loves is a coping mechanism. He's there to deal with the stress of the world, deal with the guilt, and process that, which is why when he remembers he kills his family, Tomura Shigaraki immediately goes, all that was a blessing. And then when we see him in his internal world, the second he has an interaction with his mom, he reverts to that child. He has to cope with the guilt of killing his mother, but he also still has that childlike love and appreciation of her. The same trait that's also partially displayed in Toya, if we're being honest, because if you dig back to it, he's like, Enji, Endeavor, da-da-da-da-da, Natsuo, yeah, whatever. He sarcastically refers to himself as Shoto's big brother, but he still calls her mom. He still respects and values Rei as his actual mother. And this is another thing, is that every time he compares himself to All Might, as Joseph Shiola just said in the chat, that is Tenko thinking back to the idol that he chased. Even when Shigaraki told his grandma, I still hate you, Nana, like, don't worry, I hate you for my own reasons, it was because he was thinking about the pain that was caused by that separation of his family as a child. Shigaraki exists to reject everything that causes Tenko harm. He's a coping mechanism.
Oh, so
Like,
he has the, so you're saying he the ID?
Yeah. He's like, Shigaraki is Tenko huffing copium.
I see. So he's like Two-Face.
Yeah.
You know, there was one moment that always like kind of made me feel a kind of way, not in a bad sense, in a good way, because it was like, I don't know, it just gave me this indifferent type of feeling. It was when he killed those thugs in the alley, and he wore the hands for the first time. He was like, I feel sick to my stomach, like I'm gonna hurl, but I still feel like I could just do whatever I want, like I could just do anything. Like I feel free under All For One's like wing. You know, because All for One took care of him. Like, he kept him from harm. Like, when he got shot up, he healed him up. He had Kurogiri taking care of him. Like, he wasn't really like doing anything besides, you know what I'm saying, decaying people and shit like that. So for the most part, he really was just being Tomoe Shigaraki. Like, he didn't really have to worry about consequences. Anytime he messed up, All For One was there to be on some, oh, here's another chance. Like, you could just try again. He was a gamer. He played video games.
Yep.
Like,
and that's part of why. And I like one of the first clues to that too is that like when Tomura has AFO and AFO is trying to take over the body, and he's like, at the end of the day, you still lost to All Might. And I don't want to be beneath All Might because that's what he wanted to be as a child. So you're supposed to be better than this dude, and you're not. So why would I want to be you? He's the GOAT, not you. That's why you lost to him. If he was as GOAT as he was, you wouldn't have lost.
he said, yo, they call you the Lord of Evil.
But what you ruling, my guy? Like, what are you ruling right now?
I'm out here in the streets. I'm trying to be the next king. You got him out here beefing with niggas like Overhaul and shit.
And that's the other thing too, is that like a lord is beneath a king. A lord pledges himself to a king. A lord is allotted land by a king. I'm not trying to be a lord. I'm trying to be a king. I'm not trying to be a daimyo. I'm trying to be the shogun. So what you want, AFO? Like, you settling for being a daimyo. And if you even think about the approach that he was taking, it could have been any country. You're not even looking to actually rule a specific thing. You just trying to get in where you fit in. As crazy and wild as your ambitions are, your ambition isn't to rule everything directly. You trying to you hiding. You spend like 100 years hiding, being in the shadows, manipulating things,
for really hiding.
Off. Like you're not on nothing.
Yeah, like, listen, if things were shit on All For One, he really don't be on shit. Like, in terms of like all the villains we've seen in this series, for somebody who's so strong, he really does not engage in a lot of battles if he doesn't have to. He is one person who really will pick his battles, even ones that he'll win, just because he's like, like, you know, I'm good off that. Or he'll just sneak in and just take a little W out of nowhere, take somebody quirk.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just always easy for him if he could let it be that way.
And you know what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Melvin, like when Shigaraki is in control, he puts up numbers. Like Shigaraki took out Gran Torino, a feat that All For One never actually achieved, if you think about it. Shigaraki managed to get around the erasure, put down, stop Eraserhead from ever being a problem again, more or less. Shigaraki overcame the Metal Liberation Army and got them to submit in a 1v in a 5, what was it, 5-6v 100,000, 6v 20-30,000 fight.
That fight was crazy too.
That's also a fight that All For One never would have taken.
Yo, listen,
he would have left.
All For One didn't want that smoke, bro. Listen,
he would have been gone.
Bro, put All For One literally in Shigaraki's position in PLW. Like, as soon as he woke up when Endeavor pulled up, put All For One there right now. Is what?
All For One, and if you think about like the raw power that Redestro had, when getting his burden destroyed, it was still leveling city blocks. Like Redestro's output was comparable to like an All Might level fighter, if we're being serious. Like the way he was leveling city blocks and stuff. It would not be unreasonable for with legs Redestro to actually put up a good fight and possibly even defeat All For One. That's not that far-fetched, actually. especially because unlike Shigaraki, All For One wouldn't have made Redestro second guess himself. He would have seen him as just another sniveling, sniving, conniving businessman and a competitor that need to be taken out. So when he would have done that claustro mode, he would have been able to actually overclock instead of barely hitting 100% while in his overclock armor.
But thank you for mentioning overclocks. It made me think about something. So have y'all given up on the Koichi appearance?
No.
I'm indifferent.
I've never been on board with it, but I definitely don't see it now.
And so that's the other thing I was going to say. I do give Shigaraki credit for the fight against Star and Strike, because Shigaraki isn't afraid to take damage to make moves.
He's not. He's never been. Even when he didn't have regen. That's where the mother.
So what I look at in that fight is the way the power is explained. All of that is far more reminiscent of Shigaraki. And this whole thing that I started was to say, All For One is 0 for 3.
Nah, and listen, this chapter confirmed it for me and never really smoked him. That's an L. He took an L because Rewan is going to kill him eventually. He didn't want to use it yet.
Because
that's an L.
All For One showed up in Camino and lost. All For One is piloting the Shigaraki suit right now. What is Deku doing to that boy?
I mean, gear shift.
No.
He's dogging
needs
him.
to be said. Yo, Deku came on some different shit. I gotta reread that. I really need to reread that fight. I've been waiting for a good time to really reread these chapters. That's gonna be heat. He's begging for Spinner to save him in that fight right now.
Enji.
Mm-hmm.
What did Enji do to AFO?
Grease. Yo, he was on a mission. And Dever was on a mission in that fight. He said, yo, my job is to take you out. And that's exactly what he did.
Like, who has AFO?
Yo, he's really 0 for 3, bro.
Because, like, think about this for a second. You can count the Camino fight against Genius if you want to, but be honest, doesn't that feel disingenuous when he just kind of like dropped a bomb on them and they had no like awareness of what was going on?
I'm not giving that.
It still counts. It still counts. I'm afraid.
It's like we can give him that W. We can say he's 1 and 3.
That's still not a good score.
But like,
it's not. You're right.
You know what? I'm gonna give him that too, just because Genius was out for a minute because of that.
Like he was out for a minute. He blew out a huge crowd, but at the same time, would they have taken that fight and done that? Like, would they have handled it that way if they had known who he was? And we know the answer is no. If they had known that was All For One, like truly known that was All For One, Genius would have yeeted that nigga into the stratosphere and like had Mount Lady hit him with a baseball bat. It wouldn't have gone down that way if they knew who he was.
It wouldn't have went down like that. What like
like exactly. Like, and honestly, AFO was piloting the meat suit when like for part of the war after the Prominence burn.
He left.
He lost to Shoto and Nijire. So really he's like 1 and 4.
Yeah,
like you can say, well, he already had some damage. Yeah, that's true, but still got his ass beat. Like, still got his ass beat.
He got saved.
Because Shoto made a beeline for him. You telling me you ain't see the little nigga with the red and white hair split in half running at you? You ain't see that coming? Couldn't do nothing about it, could you? All right, then, you got folded.
That's the one time I really give Shoto props. He was on time, and he said, "Listen, I could take down one of y'all. It's not gonna be Maki."
And my thing is that
Nah, yo, listen, the heroes definitely got snuck in Kamino, and it's crazy because All For One was still on the ground at the end of that. Like, I really want to emphasize that they really got snuck. Them niggas got snuck. He had no move popping out at the bar, fucking shit up. He took Bakugo back. They got snuck.
now, because like when you think about it, AFO was out here hurt in his feelings because the second user stood up to him. But like, keep it a stat. He had to stop that bullet. It's not like he could just take it. Because what happens if that bullet hits him? Man, it's splattering. So it's kind of like,
And listen, if you wanna give All For One lore W's, he did defeat Nana. I'm not counting the other users. We didn't really see how them fights went for real. Besides the second, took out Nana.
hey, you know what? You're right. I will give props to Bones because they made it a point to show that Deku hopped over there using Froppy style.
Yo, the anime elevated that moment. I'm gonna give them that. That moment is, and they even added an extra line from All For One that I like too. He said, "Yo, you just as tenacious as All Might." That was a good addition. And the way he was, oh my god, that was some decent animation they did with him bouncing with Froppy style. Listen, Froppy style did not get disrespected in the anime, which I appreciate. Like nobody was really like, mad at it, calling Deku lame. They was just like, oh, Froppy style, that's heat. That's nice.
That's because the manga community is consistently caught up in pissing matches, and the anime community is too. But like when people are watching stuff week to week, them pissing matches ain't what they own. They like, all right, is that good or not? And in this case, people who are watching the anime are like, damn, did Deku really just use his tongue to keep fighting after he broke both his arms and legs?
Deku, I'm seeing Deku get a lot of respect. Like Deku was, you know what this reminded me of, bro? Like, I don't know why I thought about this like just recently. Like, you know how at the end of the Stain fight, Deku was like, yo, at the end of the day, Stain was the only one that was still ready to fight. That's how I feel about Deku in PLW. When everything was said and done, he was still on point. Like when they tried to escape, he used Black Whip to get over there. Like, and he had no arms. If he had at least one arm, he would have did more.
If Deku would have had one arm, he would at least would have Delaware smashed dude while he was trying to escape. He would have been like, close enough. Bah, bitch. Like something.
Like Deku, like I really hope season 6 like cements him as an MC for people. Like he will not back down from a fight.
Well, and that's the thing is that whether season 6 ends with Star and Stripe, because I also think that starting season 7 with Star and Stripe could be a crazy first 2 to 3 episodes. So I'm fine with either way. If you notice, I think I ended up being off by like one episode for my season 6 core predictions. First core prediction, just like season 5, where everybody thought joint training and all that other stuff was only going to be like 5-6 episodes, and we was going to start NBA before core 1 was even over. And I was like, nah, that ain't happening. I don't know what y'all think. And folks thought that NBA was going to be like 9 episodes, and I was like, I don't know why y'all think that either. I don't agree with the rearrangement. I think they should have at least made NBA 6 episodes, but everybody that thought that shit was going to be like a whole core was lying to themselves, and that's the only way I can explain it. Santa Crust ain't bring nothing because he's dust. Anyway, but we're wrapping up this core what it looks like you need to saving. We got next episode. Let me do the.
I did not before you get to that. We should probably address that. How did you feel about that change?
Wait, which change?
You just referenced you look like you needed saving, but that's not what they said.
It's not really a change. This is a change.
No. I know it practically means the same thing, but it does not hit. I'm not gonna lie.
It's because they added context to it, which I think
Because it doesn't roll off the tongue. Saying you look like you needed saving is a lot more of a hit than you look like you need to be rescued. That's a mouthful, motherfucker. That's a mouthful.
yes.
That's
But I also think that they because they contextualized it a lot more in this episode too, because they made it a point to be like back then, and like they pulled up the image again and all this other stuff. I hate to say it, but because of how bad the media literacy is, and like just like across the board, part of why MCU is so popular, don't need good media literacy to enjoy it. But because media literacy isn't that good, folks needed that adjustment.
really.
It's kind of like how when I went to the Because the Internet tour for Childish Gambino for Because the Internet, it was a deep web tour because the Internet album. When I went to that concert and he performed War Star, instead of saying my nigga hold it horizontal, he said he holds it sideways. He dumbed down the lyric in real time because not everybody knows what horizontal is.
What?
Yes. Like there's a part, because like if you listen to that song, there's a part where he's like talking about, I think he mentioned Scorsese. He's like, my nigga, hold it horizontal, man. And he actually turns it and he goes, my nigga, hold it sideways in concert. He like dumbed the lyric down. To make sure that people got it. So sometimes you sacrifice the direct verbiage you had because you have to acknowledge that sometimes folks are just dumb. And would a nigga wearing a Childish Gambino hoodie lie about what happened at a Childish Gambino concert?
Somebody accuse you of capping?
Yeah. Yo, Joseph, I love that line in the dub. In the dub, he says it, Dobby's voice actor, he says the past never dies. The thing about the subs is that it's just like, it's literally like the Crunchyroll. Like, it's them. Like, the actual kanji and what they're saying in Japanese is the exact same as what is translated for the most part. Like the iconic lines that we know and love, like it's the same. They're like the voice actors are saying that, but sometimes Crunchyroll just wants to be on some bullshit. You know, at the end of the day, it's an interpretation. They did that recently with Chainsaw Man 2 with the Future Devil, and that shit was kind of whack.
Dog says your death is gonna rule.
Yeah, and then they fixed it. They changed it to worse, as they should have. But you know, like, because he said the same line. Like he said what was said in the manga. So it's really just the subs. It's not really the voice actors. So if you want to still picture it as, you know, them saying that classic line, that's what they say. You know.
Well, so what I like about the dubs too is that they're getting more and more in line with directly saying Caleb Cook's translations. And Tarnish does not have beef with Caleb Cook like y'all like to think. Especially because
he did run him off the internet, so you know.
It wasn't just me.
But look, because if you look at some of the stuff that happens with other people's translations, come on, like people don't realize how blessed they are until they start reading other manga.
You mean are you referencing Google Translates?
Yeah, some of the folks that be using Google Translate somehow got the job. That's why y'all don't need to have imposter syndrome. Elon Musk thought he could run Twitter. Certain translators seem to be using Google Translate to get the job done. Crunchyroll subs be very hit or miss. Don't have imposter syndrome when there's folks out here getting these jobs, man. Like don't. And yes, this hoodie says childish. Like, what did you think that meant? Tarnish did not say it was one of his proudest moments. He was just willing to take the burden. Hey, I did not directly say what manga that was.
It had to be done.
If you happen to mention what manga it was, that is your choice. You know, but hey, I'm not gonna stop you from saying which manga has that issue. I'm just not gonna say it myself because I'm nice. And in case I can ever get that official sponsorship, you know what I'm talking about? I can't have them looking back on that. I'm trying to feed my daughter. So
oh yo, wait, hold up. Getting back to the chapter. So it's a small part of the chapter anyway, but isn't it funny how Toga cleared up that whole romance dialogue the very next chapter?
Oh, you mean that controversy?
Dog.
Yeah.
Okay, so that line, like, it was funny because I stopped to be like, because we had to do this, I'm gonna address this, like reading the first page. And then like Toga's like, I'm not a blushy schoolgirl. And it's like, yeah, she dedicated herself to her ability. This is where so
people just want to sit on the female cast, bro, and it's crazy. Like,
hey, there's a reason why that Polygon article was making this week.
Well, the conversation that I saw was essentially people being like, I just feel like it's really weird for her to have this conversation in the middle of a war. But I'm like, I feel like y'all are almost intentionally missing the point, even if they understand. Because some people told me, I know the context. It's just weird to me. I was like, why? If you know the context, why is it weird?
Bro.
It's one of those cases where people, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, a lot of teenagers don't realize what they sound like. Like, there's a lot of edgy people who hate Sasuke, but sound just like him when they talk about like the world and stuff like that. Like, there's so many people I met that are like, yeah, we just need to like wipe out all our enemies. Sasuke's so cringe. Like, bro, you are Sasuke. Like, you talk just like 12-year-old Sasuke, except it's worse because you're fucking 25. Like, there's this, so people are like, oh, a teenager is trying to connect with another teenager about a teenager thing. That's cringe. All right, dog. And what I really like about this though is every single fight that we've seen is the first round. Like AFO versus Endeavor, Dabi versus Shoto, what was the start of Toga versus Uraraka, Deku versus Melvin, all of it. All of this was like build up. And it had people who were like, oh, well, I guess the series is almost over, which to a certain degree, I think that if you were able to read all those fights and think like, yeah, this is just going to be the end, part of your brain is saying, I think this is enough information. I think that this fight was raw enough. I think they pulled out enough moves, stops, combos, etc., that this is a justifiable end to the combat.
You know what's funny about that? Like, you brought up Deku versus Melvin, but that was the end of that conflict. Like, there was a whole portion with other people just stalling, basically. Mm-hmm. So we read like weeks and weeks of basically stalling, and people thought like the end was near. It's like, bro, we didn't even get to know meat yet.
And that's another thing, Solo Me. We have multiple fights that are just there waiting to happen. We have the plot point, which I don't think has been brought up in a while, that you have the dissenters just kicking it in the base on the shuttles on the way to Shiketsu.
And some crazy shit is about to happen there. No context. Skeptic got something going on down there.
Like, it's about to go down.
And listen, Maki is coming back, bro.
People have been asking, where are the Shiketsu kids? Probably at Shiketsu. Where's a whole pod full of civilians headed?
Someplace has to be a safe haven.
Shiketsu. Like, come on, dog. Like, we got people going to Shiketsu. You want to know what the Shiketsu school? And see, in Tobufu, you just said it. So we rushing and stalling at the same time. I don't see how people don't see how contradictory that is and how little sense that makes. But somehow this is where we are. And Merry Christmas to you too, that one guy. I didn't even mean for this stream to be this long, but I'm enjoying the conversation, so we're gonna keep rolling.
Yeah, we're chilling.
And like, because like, also to the person who pointed out that Jira was gassing herself up, I think she was also trying to comfort Uraraka and Sue for worrying about her. You know, yeah, the demon lord tried to come at me, but all he took was my ear. Nigga, that's half your quirk, but all he took was a single ear.
Like, what you did? Oh, you know, she just turned into a million clones. Oh, damn, that's an L.
Hey, you said that. You know this.
What
that
they
reminds me of? You know what that
What?
just reminded me of? The Day of Black Sun.
Yes.
When they're like, when Boomy was like, "Oh, it's an eclipse. That's a sign." Breaks out, does all this stuff, and then they're like, he's like, "So what did you guys do on the day of the eclipse?" And Zuko and Aang are like, "Oh, you know, shit, we did some stuff."
Yo, what are they gonna do, bro? All of Japan will be buried unless we stop her. That's crazy.
Man, I'm expecting a little extra friendly fire from Dobby to help cook some of these clones down, you know. Enji is out here kicking, punching, lighting on fire.
It's funny because he was really fucking them Twice clones up in the background. So it's like a fight I never knew I wanted to see. Like this Twice being Twice doing, you know, his little crazy movements and then never just being his ass.
Like, and Dobby's just standing above them, like ready to go. Which I also think is crazy that for all the training Shoto did, he didn't do any of that with Enji. He told Enji about some of his training, but he didn't do any training with him.
Yeah. He said he mentioned it. They're probably on the phone or something. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Listen, Endeavor be doing his thing, bro. I really forgot like that he was missing an arm because the way he's just being ass and like on the last page, it looks like Dobby's about to start missing an arm too. If you look at his left arm, it looks like straight bone, bro.
I mean, he was. I don't know if we remember when we talked about this, but if you look back to the fight with Shoto, all musculature here got cooked off during that fight. So he was already down to his bones here. So yeah, he very well might just be down to that.
I don't listen. I hope Hori gets his rest and he does this justice because I honestly don't know what's about to happen next chapter. I'm not about to hop into, you know what I'm saying, death predictions again, but like what is about to happen? Like it's Dobby and Endeavor again, face to face. He said he's gonna watch him this time. He's gonna watch Toya. Toya trying to kill him.
The important part here too, though, is that he's going into this fight and he has not reactivated that mask. I don't think he's had that mask on since like the chapter where he sacrificed his arm, or maybe it was Oopsie Daisy when he got his side bit up.
It was Oopsie Daisy. That was the last time he had the mask on. That was when Awful One told him that he participated in Toya.
Oh, Tanisha Greer came through with the super chat. Merry Christmas to one and all, and wishing a quick recovery to Horikoshi after the holidays. Sorry, I'm late. You don't need to apologize. You're not late. You're right on time. Whatever time you got to make it here is on time.
Yo, the crazy thing.
The last 30 seconds of the stream, then you are just kind of late because you the whole conversation. But like, hey, you know, go back.
This crazy Nafisa because I really don't know. Like, I don't think Endeavor's gonna hesitate this time, but I still don't know like what he's gonna do. Like, I don't think he's gonna freeze up like he did the other times. Like, I think we're past that now. He looks ready this time. Like, he's ready for the conflict for whatever happens. But it's like I just don't know what's gonna happen.
So what I kind of see happening, and maybe this is a little ambitious. Do you guys remember how I said like the most justifiable death, one of the deaths that I was kind of worried about happening for Endeavor because it kind of got brought up multiple times in passing just as a topic in the series?
Ooh. Might be
Death by
slipping my mind.
suicide.
Oh, I heard you say that on a really old video one time.
What was it?
Enji dying via suicide.
Suicide.
Except in this case, it's a death pact. Him and his son dying together to dance in hell. And I'm not pushing Enji's gonna die here. Just with where we are right now, we know Dabi's gonna have to die. Just because, like, unless we can rewind Dabi, it just ain't sweet. It just ain't going down like that.
He said it himself. He said, "Yo, I can't even like accomplish the ultimate version of my goal because Shoto is still alive." So he's already sacrificing things he wanted to do in this moment. Like he's about to just go for it.
So the way I look at it is, if they both go out here, maybe we get something comparable to like Vegeta's last stand, except instead of punching his son and knocking him out, he actually embraces him. So we get him like resisting some of the fight because, you know, like Dabi came in and gave Shoto that hug. Maybe we get the reverse of that. Enji giving him that hug. And then we cut back to what he said during Pro Hero arc, which is that you are me, you know, obsessed with power from my past or some twisted future, and I'll burn away, like telling himself like what he sees as himself to burn away. Because that line has always stuck out to me, like that idea of him being like, yeah, the person that I was and the person that I could have become are people, or is a person worthy of death, worthy of burning away, of not existing. So if he looks at himself in this moment and sees that Dabi is ultimately the ultimate manifestation of his ambition, a flame that is willing to hurt his family, a flame that is willing to take out innocence, a flame that lashes out at the world in anger, then Dabi is him. And ultimately, like when he says like those flames of yours are like, you know, these flames of mine are the flames of Endeavor, him embracing that might be the direction that this conflict is headed. Because at the end of the day, we don't need Toya around anymore for this threat to be, you know, at that level. Because Toya, like the amount of twice clones we got here, like we got this zoomed out shot.
This is a dub for him. Like these twice clones, this is Dabi's dub. Like he secured this for Toga. He was like, and he made sure he had that interaction with Toga before all of this happened, where he gave it to her. He gave it to her off screen actually, and he went to go find her to like remind her of like what they're supposed to do. And now she's about to be, Toga's there too, and Dabi might die. Like if Dabi dies right now, Toga's there, like Enji's there, Hawks is there. All for One might be gone by that point. Who knows? Like, and if Dabi dies, then we could get that Tokoyami gas up.
Mm-hmm. Also, Kaiser came through. This arc has the perfect excuse for a Redestro versus Shige rematch, bro. Would stress the fuck out seeing Melvin because that's not the Liberator he believes in. Also true. I need Redestro with his combat legs. I'm still confused on how he lost to Edge Shot, but I'm gonna chalk it up to the fact that it's kind of like trying to fight a small fly when you're big as hell, and he just couldn't like.
Yo, Tyler Hawk, facts. Kurogiri did not go to All for One. You see how Kurogiri went to Toga and said, yo, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? He didn't do that for All for One.
Yep.
You know,
because he cares about the league. He's not loyal to
that.
That's another one of those miscalculations because All for One. So it's fascinating because All for One is the one who says heart is power, connections are power. And then he sits here and he underestimates the humanity of and like the connections that all these people have with each other and the lengths that it will make them go, while simultaneously doing all of this as a weird way to get his brother back into his life. It's crazy. I want to address what Artie said. if you remember Endeavor's dream, both Toya and Enji weren't there. And then also, there's no way Horikoshi would let Enji kill his own son again without getting heavily punished for it. These are both. It's all truth.
It can't be seen as like the father just going in again, putting the son down. I don't think Hori's gonna spin it from that angle, which is why I don't really see, like, I can't really say I see Endeavor living from this if Dabi dies here as well. Like, I don't even think Endeavor would want to live if he just saw Dabi die like that right now.
And one of the things that somebody else said, let's see, where was it at? Because like, I have mixed feelings on whether or not Shoto has to be there, but I do think it gets better for him to be there. And I do think that there's a chance that, like I've said before, I think that Ida specifically trying to zoom there, get there on his way, creates some room for him to get there in time. Granted, Shoto being there and observing that only really doesn't really work because like the sacrifice itself would be hard to pull off unless he gets there at like the last second, because he inevitably would just try to blast them with phosphor to make sure they got to live. So there's that.
Another angle that I kind of want to look at it at is that Shoto versus Dabi did happen. Like, Horikoshi gave us that moment. Like, they got to really talk to each other and figure each other out. And then Dabi got away. Like, Shoto was so ready for his purpose to stop Dabi and to save the day, and he failed. So if Endeavor dies and Shoto isn't there, he's still gonna feel that guilt like all the way, just as much as he would have if he was there. Like, yo, I let him get away. Like, I couldn't stop him.
Let's see. Yep. Let's see. There was something I saw in here that I thought was really good in the chat, but I forgot to address it. No, I can't find it. Oh, Thomas came through with the super chat. Y'all really made my 2022. I feel blessed to be in such a great community. Make sure to have the best Christmas everyone, and stay safe. Also, while you're here, Thomas, let me know how you guys all feel about maybe doing a late night stream Tuesday. And by late night, I mean like 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can also do it in the morning, but just something later this week, maybe to actually, now that I think about it, because Jump is on break for the 1st of January, it looks like. Let me double check that we don't have a Jump next week, because we could do our 2022 media discussion stream next week. So everybody can talk about whatever they read that they liked, didn't like, what they watched, etc. No real restrictions on that. It looks like Jump is just straight up on break. So if y'all down, we can do that.
Copy.
Start the new year. Yep, everybody is saying 12 days. So looks like everybody.
It's very funny. This is the year I almost dropped all the shit. I haven't read One Piece in 2 years. I haven't read. It's soon to be 3 years, actually. I haven't read. I haven't read JJK since March, and I haven't read Mashle since June.
Damn.
I want to catch up on Mashle, because one of my mutuals keeps posting images and they all look fucking awesome.
Mashle, I would say catch up on MASH, because I do want to talk MASH with some people. It's been a while since I've talked MASH. What you really need to be getting on is that Undead Unluck wave, which I feel like you never hopped on.
If maybe the anime will change my mind, because I read like, what was it? Y'all told me 10 chapters. I got to 6 or 7 of them. It didn't hit.
The first 5, like the very beginning of Undead Unluck, is like the worst pitched like first couple chapters I've ever experienced. Like, there's good shit, especially on reread in those chapters, but the first couple chapters, Tozuka was not presenting the vision that Tozuka clearly has now and had back then. It's like Tozuka was trying to be like, Shonen Jump likes when you have these tropes, and like threw that shit in there, and then got rid of that by 10, 15 chapters in.
It's not even just that. The other thing is, it's about how like the show started off at rock bottom and it improved from each chapter. The problem is when you start when you go from dog shit to being decent. I'm not gonna lie, that growth ain't good enough. It ain't good enough.
Let me put it to you this way. There is no woman in Shonen Jump on par with Fuko.
Oh, interesting.
Like writing wise, there is no woman in Jump except maybe Akane Banashi, because I need to get caught up on that.
I don't even know what the fuck that's about. I've heard about it though.
Akane Banashi is about Rakugo. It's more like it's a modern day manga, but it's about an older art form. So that one is kind of like it's going to be a taster's choice thing, whether or not you're into that kind of material.
Oh, it's like slice of life-ish.
Kind of, yeah. Like I guess it would be classified as a slice of life, but it's kind of about like these one-man plays. Like it's like doing a monologue, but you're supposed to like do multiple parts.
I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this. One of my favorite mangas before the obvious fuck up was Act Age.
Okay, yeah. Then yeah, you should like it. You should like it.
Yeah, that wouldn't mean anything to me, motherfucker. I like Oshinoko. The fuck? Yeah.
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 But yeah, like Akane, like what I read because I read like the first like 12, 13 chapters and just kind of fell off. Good series though. When I started it was good. I might try to catch up before next week just to see, because all that's from 2022. But Undead, genuinely, like Fuko is one of the best main characters in the magazine. She's, to me, hands down the best woman in the magazine right now. Like when people like that Noelle who, Maki who, Uraraka who in comparison to what Fuko was on. Like I don't trust anybody who puts Nami over her.
Yo, my bad to cut you off, bro. But did you say Maki / Toji?
Bro, let Maki be her own character first. Like,
oh yeah, I you can fuck around and call them the same name sometimes, not even be wrong. It's crazy how bro, it's crazy how in versus battles people literally say like Maki / Toji, and they're not even wrong.
Yeah,
are they like the same character at this point now?
Kinda.
I mean, that's not.
I would just say read it. I would just say read it for yourself. I haven't been exactly happy with the way Maki's been handled, but I know some people are happy with her. So
no, it's
if
just
you
raw.
can see what they see,
it's just raw. They're not happy with it. It's just raw.
like,
I mean, I do enjoy rawness and swag. So I mean, yeah. But I mean,
that's always how I read JJK, but.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. The funny thing about that is that it doesn't even do that. It doesn't even do that the best in the magazine anymore. So Sakamoto Days has that now.
Yo, y'all really be gassing up Sakamoto Days. Should I get on that?
Yes, you should get on that, nigga.
I've
been meaning to read Sakamoto. I got the first volume over here, and I haven't even read it. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Because the beginning is goofy, but it's cool. It's fun. And then after you get further in, there's some good little world building. The action is amazing. The characters are really enjoyable.
Like I remember reading the first chapter and him like deflecting a bullet with a piece of candy, but I just
I told you it's goofy, but it's fun. That's what I enjoy about it. It's fun. And then we get to the world building aspect. It's really fun. And then there's the last aspect of it that I love, even though it's just the me thing, the power scaling. I love the power scaling. Yeah, look, I have great power scaling conversations.
Also, I love Mob Psycho, but I need to watch season 3. I've been trying to get my fiance to catch up so we can watch season 3 together.
You won't regret it.
I've only watched 4 episodes of it.
Yo, listen. No, all jokes to the left, bro. Listen, when you have Baby Girl, that's a great anime. That's a good gateway anime, like on life. Mob Psycho.
Good, because like I'm trying to have her on the way. That way I can trick her into enjoying her martial arts classes. I want to force her to be enrolled.
Listen, the end is perfect. Like in terms of like anime that ended, like Mob from start to finish, bro. Like that's not even me gassing it. Like that's a really good show. A lot of life lessons, a lot of psychic powers. Very cool.
I was like, if that was the case, if you wanted to enjoy martial arts classes, then put her on Sentai.
Exactly. Also, I'm gonna say this: the ex mangaka hates women train is some of the lamest shit to come out of like manga discourse because it's hyper reductive. And what's more, the bar for what people like consider good is so mercurial at times because people will like, especially because like I watch it happen in real time. So when we talk about like, if a woman dies, the mangaka hates women. If a woman gets injured, the mangaka hates women. If a woman isn't allowed on the front lines though to have like real fights, the mangaka hates women. That is a horrible situation for like utilization of like women characters. Then, if you put them in combat series, that means you pretty much exclusively want them to win, and that's boring storytelling. And I remember I had this conversation with some friends years ago, and I was like, well, what's the point of that story then if there's no like actual adversity in there, I was going to win. And they're like, well, guy characters get to do that. And I was like, and there's some of the most boring characters in the series. Like people who love Dragon Ball Z, like some of the most devout Dragon Ball Z fans, their favorite character ends up being Vegeta a lot more often than I see it being Goku. Because
that's often.
Like that's super common because Vegeta's character arc is a lot more interesting.
He's an actual person.
And when Vegeta gets the rare times Vegeta gets dubs, sure they're never against main villains, but because Vegeta is forced to lose so often, his dubs have a lot more meaning to them.
Well, I will say the Goku winning all the time thing is overblown as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, he does lose to like Moro, which Moro was more interesting before he absorbed the robot and blah blah blah.
Oh, it's not even just that. I'm talking about Goku in Z doesn't really win fights. Because think about it. He doesn't beat Vegeta. He doesn't beat he beats Frieza. He doesn't beat Cell. He doesn't really beat Boo. So it's like he doesn't really win fights like people say he does. In fact, and look at Dragon Ball. He lost all the damn tournaments.
Even in Super, he loses fights.
Yeah, like he lost all the damn tournaments and fucking until like the 23rd. So it's like he loses a fuck ton. It's just the fact of the matter is he's the main character, so I guess in their minds he wins all the time off the few wins he does get. I don't get it, but that is how it works.
Well, with Z, like with Z, he does a lot better than he does in Dragon Ball. I think Goku's way more grounded in Dragon Ball than Z.
Oh yeah, he's better character. He was better written.
Yeah, he's way better written in Dragon Ball than Z. But that's okay. But yeah, just like for example, people who like I don't know, like Sanji or Zoro more than they like Luffy because Luffy will lose, but you expect him to lose in rounds and then bounce back. Like that's just how his fights are written. It's very rare when he beats the person on the first try. Usually from some kind of hubris decision or something like that. But it's whatever. Let me get back on track. We started talking about all kinds of stuff in the magazine, which, like I said, that could be next week. We can do magazine discourse, media in general. Okay, somebody's got a show or something they want to talk about, get off their chest. Like, for example, the One Piece movie. I don't know. I enjoyed that. Uta wasn't nearly as broken as I thought she was going to be when based off how people were talking about her, which was a good thing because like it didn't really make sense for her to be able to do half the stuff she was doing.
I just got here, like you know.
Oh, what up, Squid?
Hello, Squid.
Oh, not all roads wear capes, but I'm here now.
Wait, what weird takes?
No, he said not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm here now, like, you know, a superhero.
You're supposed to say Watashi ga kita when you arrive.
Man, you know I can't speak any non-English language, bro. That would be butchered, bro.
All right, Squid, what were your thoughts on the chapters this week?
Oh, wait. For like
Just my hero. You ain't got to go through every series
Okay.
three. Don't worry.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It was. I'm a little. I was a little bit like worried for like Hori's health, but he seems to be in, good enough spirits. I really hope that they give him a break because he seems like he seems down bad at this point. I ain't gonna lie.
I disagree because I think they did give him a break. I think he's the one that came off break.
I'm gonna say I hope he takes his break.
Yeah.
He needs it.
Yeah. He takes his break. My bad.
Because man is consistently overworking himself. Like I don't need him to take a Tagashi break. I don't need that.
I don't need him to force himself into that situation.
That too,
Like,
though.
here's the thing, okay? If he takes a break now, he saves himself, crashing and now needing a 1 month break later. That's the way you gotta think. You gotta take an L in the short term to get a dub in the long term.
It's not
And
even
sometimes
an
that works.
L. Like, take your 3 month break, dude. They let Gege take a
No,
3
but some
month
people
break.
feel like when they like fail, like when they're not living up to like their schedule, they feel like that's an L for them.
No,
I don't
no.
mean-
It's
I don't
so
mean that.
crazy
Hold on,
because
hold on.
he would.
Hold on. I don't mean
Like,
to
it's
cut
like
you off, but I got
Wait.
to head out. I got to
Yeah,
head
let
out.
BG get his thoughts out real quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got to head out. So I think chapter was fun today, short. So I need that man to take like a 2 month break. And
Yeah.
I'm glad good talking to y'all again.
Yeah,
Merry
my boy. Merry Christmas, man.
Glad to have you.
Merry
man.
Christmas, man. Happy holidays to everyone in general, man.
Facts.
True.
Be safe out there.
Stay safe in these streets.
Stay safe, BG.
Yeah, what I was about to say. It is fucking crazy how this man Hawks is about to die. Either he's about to die or he's just gonna have to live with watching the never die.
He's out of
'Cause
swords, so I'm confused.
His sword is broken. Listen, when I first read the scans, I was kind of confused on what happened to him because I was like, wait, is he attacking All For One or is he just getting blown back? No, he got blown back. There's blood all over his forehead, bro. Like, I was looking at him this chapter, like, bro, are you good? Like, he's sitting there trying to chit chat with All For One, trying to match his, you know what I'm saying, his energy. And then it's like, bro, you're like leaking right now, bad.
Which, I mean, he's doing a good job of playing. The one thing I like about how Hawks has been in this conflict is that Enji was matching All For One's power. Hawks has matched his mouth.
Yeah, from the beginning, he was talking for Endeavor at certain points.
Like, every step of the way, he's kind of kept up with the verbal game that All For One wants to play.
I feel like this is like a truer side to him, like, because he was trained by the commission in terms of like talking to people, and he's a good manipulator himself. Like, it really feels like a real recognized real. Like, this whole Hawks and All For One dynamic that's been going on at this battlefield, I've been fucking with it. I'm not gonna lie, they got good like chemistry,
and especially because All For One tries to do the whole such a cruel command, like basically questioning. Because like on one hand, Hawks isn't supposed to be making the calls because he's not supposed to be like the leader anyway, right? So it's like he's trying to undermine the entire dynamic, undermine the play itself. But ultimately, none of that matters. And if they can do something that'll temporarily slow down Dabi even a little, if they, because like, even though neither of them are like, I need to save Dabi, at the end of the day, like Enji isn't manifesting that thought, but that is the true process that he wants to take as a father anyway, right? Like, he doesn't actually want to have to kill Dabi. He doesn't want to actually have to harm him. And that's why he's talking about how this time he's trying to see him in the same way that, Uraraka tried to connect with Toga and Toga's rejecting that. Do I expect Dabi to 100% reject whatever Enji has to say to him here? Yes. Do I expect it to have a cost? Yes. Is this Enji doing too little too late? Also, yes. But for what Toya meant to him and for what Toya means to him, he's gonna do what is effectively the right thing to live up to those ideals.
Yeah, you know what I just thought about? Like, let me know if I'm wrong. Is this the first time Endeavor's spoken to Dabi? Like after finding out he was Toya.
Let me think.
Did they have any they haven't seen each other? And then when everybody first came through the portals, he said, "Hey dad," and Endeavor like he ignored him kind of like he just grunted, I think.
Let me pull up
Like
that chapter real quick.
like after finding out who he was, like this is his first time like speaking to him. And then the first thing he said was, "What'd you do to Shoto?"
Yeah, because
He
I'm
hasn't
looking
spoken.
at it.
Yeah, he hasn't spoken to him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
because
because he got.
even during the reveal, he was just shooken the whole time. He didn't speak.
Let's see. Oh, all right. I'm looking at the 374 as he's transporting. Let's see. Ryuichi played his part. Da, 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 da. Okay, you have to get "Hey, Dad," and then the "Oh Hawks." So he doesn't even get a response. He's like, "Hey, Dad." Let me see what 375 has for interactions, because that one was more centered on Uraraka and Toga. So yeah, we get like no emphasis on Dabi and Endeavor, and that we just get them staring at each other as we get that matchup head off. And then
Yo,
we transition.
this is the first time he's gonna actually have words to say to him.
Yeah, they didn't get to talk at all. Because Endeavor was in the process of passing out the first time. So
Like
was
Shoto's spoken to him. They had like a little moment. He hasn't like him and Enji. This is really the first time since then.
yeah, no,
That's crazy. Yo, listen, I need Horror to take his break because this is about to hit. This is about to hit.
Yeah, no, they got to take that break because I want to make sure that whatever conversation they have, I'm not necessarily saying it has to fit into this one chapter that's coming up, but it needs to be given its proper justice. Like it's got to be done right. I need them to like have it hard established. Like, yeah, we're having this conversation, and I think he also kind of needs to understand where his dad is really coming from, because there's definitely been a disconnect this whole time. And that's part of why I like the fact that Enji's not wearing the mask, because he, talks about how all I can show him is the world of heroes. By taking that mask off for this conflict, he's staying himself throughout this whole thing. And like it's just been Enji on this battlefield fighting. He said that Endeavor died. And that's kind of why I like the fact that the image was like a younger him looking down on a burning up Endeavor, because it's just the person he was trying to be as a child that is handling these fights now. Also, I just looked at the poll results, and at number 28, Beatboxer Bakugo. I don't even know what to say to that.
Yo, it's magic how Bakugo wins every year. It's really magic. I wish the polls were like more people, because I really wonder if he would be number one if it was like an international poll.
It's been Bakugo, Deku, Shoto, and first, second, and third places respectively for like 6 to 7 years straight.
I think we just got established like that, like they just top three,
I remember
it be like that.
Confused during the overhaul arc that them boys was in the top like 5.
Yo, it's crazy because All Might was never really number one.
Yeah, I don't think he ever took number 1. I think he was like number 5 at one point.
Yo, like, damn, All Might really fell off in terms of like popularity, like in the popularity polls specifically.
I'm not surprised though. Like he doesn't have a lot of action.
He's a big mascot for the series. Like he's in Fortnite now. Like, oh, it's All Might. Like All Might is so iconic. Like
Let's see. Second
That's
poll,
my
All Might
guy.
was number 6. 'Cause I'm just looking at the Japan one right now. He was 5th in the first poll, 6th in the second poll.
Mhm.
All Might was 7th in the third poll, just one spot per poll.
Consistently in the top 10.
He was 10th in the fourth poll.
Mhm.
5th poll, All Might fell to 13th.
Damn, that's when he fell off.
6th poll,
I feel like
14th.
something got him back in at some point though.
7th, he was 13th. So yeah, he's been outside of the top 10 for
You know
the
who's
past 3
consistent?
to 4 polls.
You know somebody who's really consistently there though? Ida, Kirishima.
Yep.
Kaminari just got his spot. Off the anime hype for sure.
Oh yeah, entirely off that. Like nothing else. Just that.
Endeavor is in there, which is definitely from the manga, I'm feeling. Because he had a good ass fight, bro.
It's from the manga and the anime. Like that's something that I've noticed is that like slots 6 through 10 tend to be impacted by the anime more, but the top 5 slots are almost like primarily focused around like the manga results, in my opinion. Like they usually look like they're based on that manga.
I mean, we all knew Bakugo was gonna win this year. But like, damn, Deku is really always number 2. I'm glad that Deku is like consistently popular though, because you know, people be shitting on him, but like, yeah, listen, like this is his series.
Oh, the fourth one, Deku was actually in 3rd place, but still.
Little L. Take an
Which
L
is
mouse back.
wild. Because the 4th one is opened in chapter 192 and closed in 207. Okay, I guess joint training got them some points. The 3rd poll was announced in chapter 163. So that was the one that Bakugo and Shoto really didn't have any business being in.
Shoto just has a religion of fans, though. That's the thing about him.
Oh, yeah, that's the one
Bakugo
where
too.
Deku was 1 vote ahead of Shoto in that one. That's but like everybody's like, how is that even possible? Because Shoto and Bakugo had like nothing to do with the manga for like
That was
50
during
chapters.
that had to be during the overhaul period.
Yeah, because that was like after overhaul into.
Yeah, he brought them back right after. He made them a duo after that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then turned to a trio, which I like their trio. Their trio sometimes gets a lot of hate. I see the vision.
So 1A is popular, one because yes, they just like the students. It's like a wholesome attachment. 2, part of it comes down to how it was marketed, especially because if you take, like, even if, let's say we had, like, My Hero, instead of the first season only being 13 episodes, had been 25 episodes, which means it would have been, you know, the entrance stuff and wrapped up with the sports festival. That means that, like, the first 25 episodes of the season, and even the first 35 or so, because you got to think, like, back half of season 2 is Hero Killer arc, and then it's final, like, stuff like final exams, very much. And even if you look at Camino, you have like the first half. So really the first 3 seasons are actually very 1A centric. I think a lot of people don't realize this, but that's over 60 episodes where it's genuinely primarily focused on the kids and what they're doing. We get hints and traces at what's going on with the League of Villains, with what villains are wanting to do in society. But ultimately, the first like 100 chapters of the series do revolve around the children. Really, the first 124. The Rise of the Villain saga does start in like chapter, you know, like 99-ish, because that's when, you know, provisional license starts, and it continues all the way till the end of the PLW. So basically until chapter 306. That's the Rise of the Villain saga. And I think because that saga is longer, a lot of manga readers, especially over here, are like, yeah, man, these villains have become more interesting. We're more willing to like, it's like our perception is more willing to like shift and like look at new information. But I want to put this in the context for you using One Piece. Ace has not been relevant since, let me double check this real quick. Last chapter.
Yo,
Let's
Merry
see.
fucking Christmas, y'all. I just had to say that again.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
bro.
you know what's crazy? I really didn't think that you were gonna stream today. I don't know why. I was gonna say it in the chat earlier, like, yo, like if you want to stream, I'm free or whatever. But
I was
you
thinking
know,
about just doing a reaction review, and then I was like, you know what? No, I'll have a little fun with it, do a little background.
nah, yeah, the background took me out.
For a moment, I thought you was like burning, and I was like, "Whoa!" Then I realized you weren't hurting. I was like, "That's crazy."
Okay, so Ace as a character has not been truly relevant since April 5th, 2010.
That was when Obama was president, first term.
Damn.
I was still in high school.
Damn.
I was probably like first year elementary.
Like
No,
that was
first
the end of my
year,
this
like,
is towards the end of
middle
my
school.
junior year. Ace
Yeah.
is still routinely a top 10 voted popularity poll character for One Piece. Like Ace has gotten a couple things sprinkled throughout Wano, but
You take dubs where we can.
Ace has like, in fact, I think around the time of Dressrosa, when the popularity poll was released, it was also the first time somebody other than Zoro or like Sanji was like number 2 in a long time. But that was when like Law got number 2 during Dressrosa. But during that poll specifically, I'm pretty sure Ace was number 5. And that was like 2015, 2016. Ace is consistently up in that top 10 and has not mattered, hasn't contributed to the story that much since 2010. Like over there, they like pick some characters and they just ride for them niggas for the rest of the series. Don't matter what happens, just riding for them.
Go to
Rest of the series. I don't even think Ace is that great of a character, if I'm honest, but it don't matter. They love that nigga. Just riding for him. Whole series.
Yo, listen, no context, because I don't really have any context. Every time I hear people like really talk about him, it's always about how stupid what he did was. And like it's just funny to me because I don't know what happened, but it's like I'm picturing a dumb nigga doing like something really stupid and just getting killed. And it's just funny.
That's because it is kind of dumb. It's like dumb as shit.
Wait, what are we talking? Wait, what are you talking about?
What Ace did.
Oh, come
But
on,
yeah.
man! You gotta catch the smoke. You know?
Nah, bro. Maybe one day I'll talk about that, but like I'm not gonna do that on the stream just in case somebody wants to get into One Piece and hasn't been spoiled on the Ace situation. And that way they
What
can
would
get
you have
into
done?
that.
What would you have done?
I would have honored the ideals that I was espousing from my mouth and followed the order.
See, I'm rebellious. See, I don't really agree.
I would have
with that.
acknowledged what that situation cost and made sure it wasn't in vain. That's the best way I can explain that.
Yeah.
See, when I put it like that, Squid, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Like,
Listen, I would have respected people's wishes.
because look, I watched that arc with my buddy, and one of the things we noticed is that niggas who look like they could have been accountants were on the battlefield. You had the nigga balancing Whitebeard's checkbook out here fighting for you. You gotta respect what's being put on the line for you. When you got Pedro, the peach farmer, and bill and accounting, and the dude that stocks the vending machine all pulling up. For you, you got to respect that, and you got to make sure that what everything they do is honored. And that's the best way I can explain my frustrations with Ace. I feel like anybody who knows exactly what I'm saying.
If you know, you know.
Like,
Yeah, no.
I think that's the best. Like, that's the best way I can put it without just like hard spoiling it. Even though like it's also a 10-year-old thing, I should be allowed to spoil it. But hey, it is what it is.
More than 10.
Yeah,
So,
technically, yeah, it's like a 13-year-old event basically. So. But yeah, let's start doing a wrap up because I'm gonna go spend some time with the fiance and rub the belly or something. But
all right, my boy.
Let's get these final thoughts. Squid, you came a little later, so go ahead, say what you got to say. Get this off your chest. Any vibes? Anything that you want to contribute? Any well wishes? Any thoughts you got? Because I know you let you get some of your political energy out because I know you be needing a vent sometimes.
Yeah, I was doing something. Oh, okay. So, yeah, like I said, I get some stuff to get off my chest. For this, Christmas, I had a friend give me a deluxe edition of the Berserk comic, Berserk manga.
Wait. So what about the Berserk manga?
I got a deluxe edition, a volume for the Berserk manga. Covers like chapter 31. Oh yeah.
One of these.
Yeah.
Man, Berserk Deluxe Volume 1. Berserk has one of the craziest first pages of a manga you will ever run into. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro, that's fire. The one I got was the one with the Ganishka and the whole like Kushan Empire. That one was crazy.
Man,
like seriously, like Miura is a god tier artist. When you can like hold, like when you feel this panel, when you feel this paper, that's crazy.
What I like about it is the book disappeared in the background. Like I just looked at it on a stream and it just disappeared. Like
it's an astral world right now. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, it's in the astral world. All right. So general thoughts about 2022. Oh, I got a really funny story about what happened in New York. So a congressman named George Santos got elected for the House of Representatives in New York District 3. That's one of the districts in in Long Island. So, but what made it funny was
The
that
dark side.
yes, this is the dark side. He possibly lied about everything. Like, okay, let me give you an example. He said he went to Baruch College and like another major university. The universities had no record of George Santos in their archives. So he lied about what university he went to. He then said he owned 13 rental properties. They don't know, none of the properties he listed seems to like exist. They said he ran an animal shelter charity. There's no record of what animals this organization has been involved with. And now we're finding out that he said that he was gay, only to find out that in 2011, he divorced a woman.
well, he could still be gay.
Yeah, he could, but like, bro. And now we're finding out that in like, he straight up might not even be a US citizen because he defrauded the Brazilian government.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the Republican representing New York District 3.
Wow. All right then.
That was hilarious.
That's a lot.
And yeah, also Elon Musk is like trashing Tesla. How you go from like $400 to 123 in like less than like a year?
Hey, the way that stock situation has been handled. So that whole situation is crazy, specifically because Elon was like, I'm buying Twitter to own the libs. And then a bunch of people were like, who do you think is buying your cars?
Libs.
And so now he's gone and alienated most of Tesla's constituents while simultaneously doing a bunch of stuff that's going to make Twitter less enjoyable to utilize as a platform. And also leverage Tesla stock to buy Twitter. Ended up having to sell a lot of Tesla stock to liquidate assets so he could like help pay off these loans and stuff, because he found out Twitter wasn't as profitable as he thought, while simultaneously hindering the Twitter income stream just by being himself, and advertisers
and basically allowing like every single Nazi back on the platform, which scared a bunch of advertisers.
While simultaneously also, just by the nature of owning a car company, making it no longer in every other automotive industry's best interest to advertise on Twitter, because that is funding a member of the opposition.
Yep.
And now the board of Tesla is straight up like, dude, what are you doing? So at the rate he's going, he could easily
go bankrupt.
There's like 80, because he only owns like 20% of Tesla. So he's putting himself in a position where he could end up being ousted by the other 80%, forced to sell his shares off, losing any equity or value that he has within Tesla, especially since it's now at a low market rate. So they can get rid of him, put somebody else at the forefront, while simultaneously then losing most of what he has as leverage in his deal, which means that if he ends up defaulting on that, some random bank could end up owning Twitter. And all he'd have left is SpaceX, which at that point, since it's not a publicly traded company, it's not about stock, it's not about any of that other stuff, could also easily end up losing a lot of its government credential funding. We might watch a billionaire make the wrong business moves hard enough to spiral himself into bankruptcy in the truest sense of the word, if this keeps going at this rate.
Let me go one step deeper. Tesla has a brilliant strategy where they're not evaluated as a car company. See what they do? They evaluate themselves as a tech company, which allows that their stock to essentially be extremely overvalued because their actual the profitability of the actual products isn't the big gold mine. It's the ideas presented by Elon Musk. Tesla stock relies on the public's perception of Elon Musk being like this eccentric, like real life Iron Man. And every single day, he is proving them wrong with how many just dumb things he's doing, which is only going to tank the stock even more. Like, by January 1st, don't be surprised if you see the stock of Tesla below 115.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially because, like I said, I own Twitter stock. Shares are about $39.40. Elon Musk overpaid by about $13 to $14 per share.
Yep.
And when he took it private, I got compensated because he did that. So he took like the few shares I had, and in exchange, I got that money back to go reinvest in something else. So I think I'll invest that in like an energy company or something like that pays dividends. But hey, worked out. So
other than like Elon just being a constant source of memes, like having a poll where he was asking, would I step down on Twitter? 9 million people vote yes. only for like the next message he responds to be like, hey, only people who have Twitter Blue should be able to vote, and be like, I'll implement that. And just changing whoever gets to vote. That was hilarious. That was a real, that was a real joke right there. And also possibly the biggest discovery of, of the year was, Kanye becoming Yadolf. That was hilarious to me.
All right, we can't get into the Yadoff.
You're free Tory Lanez.
What?
That's crazy. Wow. So, wow, that's crazy.
I'm gonna refuse to elaborate.
All right,
That don't
fair.
even make sense. You realize when you fail, like the test came out is inconclusive. That meant multiple pieces of DNA were found on it, bro. You don't call someone and be like, hey, bro, I'm sorry that this happened. If you don't do something, that's crazy. That's why.
All right. Back on chapter. Get your final thoughts off. What you got to say, Tarnish?
About the MHA chapter, listen, I just need Hoy to take his break because I'm very excited to see what happens next in the story. Like we're getting the stuff I really want to see, so I need him to be in the right state of mind. You know what I'm saying? But in regards to 2022, I'm just ready to move on. Keep moving forward.
Calm down, Aaron.
Keep keeping things fresh. Not trying to stay in any type of cycles that's not good for me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be in that. Everybody just got to push on. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, I
Cold
appreciate
outside. It's very cold outside. Please wrap. I don't know where y'all live, but in New York, it was literally like 8 degrees last night. It's very cold outside.
I think it's like 4 degrees right now. Here, hold on, let me double check. No, it's 9. It's 9 degrees right now.
Still,
But,
bad.
At least it's better than 8.
Like,
look,
stay warm for real, y'all.
Oh no, the other day it was we hit like -4.
Like,
and
crazy.
And people been getting sick lately. Like, stay healthy for real. You know what I'm saying? Don't get into no dumb situations. Just be safe.
That's something that y'all got to miss because there was no chapter. I had COVID.
Oh,
that's great, bro. That's wild.
Yeah, I had COVID 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We both had it. I had a fever of like 102.6.
Down bad in these trenches,
dog. Because I haven't been like meaningfully sick in years. Like COVID was my first time being actually sick in a while, and I'm vaccinated. I don't know how. Like I understand. Like just having like an almost 103 fever, coughing all the time. Which coughing when you got a 103 fever means coughing with a headache, which means feeling like your eyes are always gonna pop out of your head when you cough. Fortunately,
low key getting vaccinated, like, bro, you saved yourself way more pain than.
I definitely did, because whoever ain't vaccinated that got hit with COVID, I know you was
going your version of it. No, they was gonna get clapped. That was crazy.
Like I know they was going through it. Because goddamn,
it's wild.
But yeah, survived. I'm still here. But it was
by
crazy.
the way, ever since I've been wearing masks now for like the past 2 years or something, bro. The rate at which I get sick nowadays is just like zero. Like I be washing my hands like every time I'm outside. I be wearing a mask, bro. I've been so safe. It's wild.
Well, culturally, we really should have normalized. It would improve society immensely if wearing a mask was normalized while sick. But
freedom of speech, bro. I get to cough my germs into your face because America and freedom.
That is perceived as like heavily oppressive. And we need to change that. We need to stop being so hyper individualistic. We need to accept the fact that doing what's best for all of society is what a country should do. And there should just be no argument about it. One of the craziest things that I've seen people say is, well, all these social network programs and all this other stuff work in these other countries because they have like a 95% plus homogenous racial population, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, so what you're saying is that America is too racist to vote for programs that would benefit it because they don't want it to benefit people who don't look like them. That is your argument. And you don't think there's anything wrong with that culturally, and we should not fix that? Okay, cool.
That's crazy. Like
Have not
we
thought
could have
so.
had public transit. We could have had like crazy public transit, like back in the 70s. But
Think
racist
your-
suburb people was like, we don't want that. And now we have the public transit we have now, which is garbage.
Try always, and this is one of those things that I always like I say for not just me, not just for conservatives, liberals too. Think your thoughts all the way through and consider the ways in which you can be wrong.
I think America has like a crazy notion of freedom because like something basic like, hey, I should be able to like go to like a grocery store and not get lit up by a gun. And they'll be like, no, bro, that's freedom, Second Amendment. Meanwhile, it's like when you ask them to like put on a mask so I don't get sick every 2 days, it's like, nah, bro. America, freedom. Soldiers died so I could spit germs in your mouth. Like, bro.
We got a lot to work on, but we're gonna leave this on a good note. Lots of
Yes,
love to
yeah.
everybody who's been here. Everybody who wasn't available to be here at the stream, doesn't really matter. Enjoy your time with your families. If you're spending time with your family,
Yeah.
if you're not spending time with your family, congratulations, you just spent time with your family. I know this time of year can be exciting for many, lonely for others. Just remember that there is a place here for you. Church of MHA is where we spread love, positivity. We want to reach out, make sure everybody feels supported.
Everybody gets done.
Just try your best to enjoy the rest of the year.
Mhm.
And while I don't think you necessarily have to have a goal set, you don't necessarily have to build a New Year's resolution for yourself. Just as you head into this next year, maybe figure out what your goals are, how you can achieve them, and
Don't
what'll
fall into
actually
that
bring
scam
joy into your life.
of thinking, hey, I'm gonna get fit this year, and then you only go to a gym for like 2 weeks, and then your membership's over. Don't do that.
Hey, yeah, don't do that. I need to start back going to the gym. Do take care of yourself. Do try to work out.
Yeah.
Do try to go ahead, try to make healthy decisions where you can. Everybody, try your best to be the best version of yourself.
Like rather than having
And
an
if-
Oreo shake, have like a strawberry shake. Like, make like put some strawberries in the shake instead of Oreos. Something simple like that.
Ask yourself the existential dread-inducing question of what is the pinnacle of my existence? What does that look like? And if you can't find the answer, then you got a lot of potential and way up you can go. And that's something that you can take pride in. Wishing all y'all a Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
Happy Holidays.